Hello, I'm Amanda McCrina. I'm the author of Traitor, which is a young adult historical novel coming out from Macmillan on August 25th. I work as a bookseller at Bound, which is an independent bookstore in Franklin, Tennessee. Before that, I taught just about every subject you can think of at an international school outside Madrid, Spain. Something unusual about me is that one of my all-time favorite jobs I've ever had was as a projectionist at a movie theater. Right before everything made the switch to digital, I was one of the last generation of true film projectionists, which I think is really cool and exciting. I hadn't heard about the Harbor Springs Festival prior to this year. I don't have a personal connection to Michigan, though my mom spent some time there as a kid. Her dad was a Coast Guard officer, and she lived in Sheboygan for several years. And so I've heard stories, and I would love to be able to see more of Michigan someday. The only part of Michigan I've seen at this point is the Detroit airport, which I'm sure is not the best representation of Michigan. So Traitor, as I said, is a young adult historical novel set during World War II. My elevator pitch was that it's about a young Soviet sniper who has to go on the run after not quite accidentally shooting his unit's political officer. I've always loved historical fiction. I would say one of my biggest influences, or at least one of my earliest influences, was Rosemary Sutcliffe, who was a British children's historical fiction author, mid-20th century, and read her extensively as I was growing up and tried to emulate her for as long as I could with everything I wrote starting out. So definitely a big influence. When I start to write, I usually begin with a character in a particular situation, and then I kind of work backwards to figure out how that character might have gotten into that situation in the first place. Again, I always start with character. For me, the character comes first, and everything else kind of falls into place around that character. The thing I would say I want people to take away from Traitor, or honestly is a theme that runs through most of the stuff that I write, is being able to look at a complicated situation and not only come away with it, maybe a better understanding of it, but an ability to empathize and maybe see different perspectives. That was something that stuck out to me as I researched Traitor, was that despite the bleakness of this history, and its very dark and depressing history, there were always these moments where people defied expectations. They kind of broke out of the boxes you'd think they would be in, and were these moments of light in the darkness, as it were. And I think that's what I want people to take away from Traitor, is not just the intense complexity or the darkness of the history, but these moments of grace and goodness that kind of stick out throughout the narrative. Here goes the rapid fire round. The one book I'd like to read again for the first time would probably be The King of Atolia by Megan Whalen Turner. If I had to pick one body of water, it would be the Mediterranean, no doubt. True or false, Oxford comma all the way, definitely true. I will always reach for peanut M&Ms if I had to choose. Favorite podcast of late has been not applicable. I don't really listen to podcasts. The books currently on my nightstand are The Sound of Stars by Alicia Dow and Beach Read by Emily Henry. I'll take Mexican food any day of the week, and I do my best reading at night. Thank you again for the opportunity to participate virtually and for your support of Traitor, and I hope you enjoy.